Yazoo were a British synth-pop duo from Basildon, Essex, who are known in the US as Yaz. Presumably they didn't feel the need for an ooh in America. They were Alison Moyet, who was their singer, who was previously a blues and punk singer, and Vince Clarke, who had previous to this been one of the founder members of Depeche Mode, and after this founded Erasure, which had a lot of success. They existed as Yazoo from 1981 to 1983 and released 2 albums, and they split up acrimoniously just before the release of the second album. However, they have managed to put aside their differences, and there have been a couple of reunions since. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was Yazoo's first and most popular album. I know the hit songs from this, but I didn't know the album as a whole. I have, back in my history and time of my record buying days in my late teens and early 20s, predominantly, I saw this several times in record shops and was tempted to buy it, but managed to resist that temptation several times. It's named for the producer, who was Eric Radcliffe, and they kind of hung out with him quite a bit, from what I understand. So it's one of the first, Yazoo were one of the first bands to marry the idea of strong female vocals with electronic dance. Another band that obviously did that was Eurythmics. And this kind of paved the way for that to be a pattern in rave and house music later on. So I knew the first track, which is Don't Go, which is a kind of upbeat synth pop thing. I also knew Only You, which is a classic. It's a slower song, and it's my favourite track on the album. Most of the rest of the album is mildly interesting, but not as strong, I would say, as those two, except for there are a couple of tracks that have unusual spoken word parts of it. So I Before E, Except After C includes Vince, Eric's mother, and Alison laughing at them. They're mostly reading out bits of instruction manual for some of the recording equipment. And it feels a bit like, one of those things where there's you got a piece of paper and stuff's written in one direction and then stuff's written over the top in it in another direction. Called a palimpsest. It feels like an audio palimpsest. And there was an album that I like really much, not many people have come across, called 00, by a guy called Mike Batt, which did loads of this, and it's very kind of similar style of overlaying these spoken word bits on top of each other. The other one that has some of that is In My Room, which has a bit more kind of musical elements of it, and it has spoken stuff. Again, it's Vince doing it, and it's the Lord's Prayer, and it sounds quite menacing with the way that he's done it. So overall, I would say that this album's got some high points, and it's an album of significance, but it's a bit of a scattered album in the way that it's put together. I certainly enjoyed it. I feel like there was potential here for them to develop quite a lot more than this, and I think they didn't get the chance to really exploit that potential. So I quite like it. What do you think? So please do talk to me about your feelings, thoughts, reminiscences, or anything else about this album. And that's it from me for now.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.